to talk with you. You don't have to tell me anything that's new. I just wanna go out on a walk with you. I just wanna see your shadow next to mine, sailing over pavement with our two outlines. I like to see the shape you're in from time to time. I just wanna see your shadow.
It is currently Sunday and about 9 o'clock in the morning, and I just got done getting ready. Today is going to be a big day because I wanted to talk to you guys about my plans for outlining Project Reaper. I'm a little scared, and I think I've been putting it off, maybe subconsciously, a little bit. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Charlie. I'm a writer. I'm currently working on a dark fantasy with psychological and paranormal elements. I'm calling it Project Reaper, and I've just recently finished my first draft of a sci-fi dystopian novel that's called Project Daydream. I am just really excited about this project, and I want to start writing it, and I feel like I'm still working on the project, but it's not exactly drafting. I did cheat a little bit, and I did write like the opening scene, and I'm really happy with where it's starting. And so pretty much every single scene that comes after that and the prologue need to be outlined. So I'm going to do the beat sheet today, and I'm going to start outlining every single chapter. What I have so far is basically all of the character backstory. Every single character, including important secondary characters and characters that really affect my main character, Delaney, have been outlined. I've got all of their backstory. I have magic system pretty well thought out, and the rules of this world are pretty well thought out. I know outlines change, so I'm trying not to be too intense about it. I'm just hoping that it goes smoothly, basically. Hopefully all of your projects are going well. Let me know how they're going in the comments. I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and pull out Save the Cat and pull up my Word document, and I guess we'll start outlining.
The sunrise hits my face like pouring whiskey on a fire. Woke up with a t-shirt on, I'm pretty sure belongs to a stranger. Last night I know we laughed too hard, I think we spilled some drinks and tattooed some ink. Wild hearts don't waste no time, when we live the nights no one remember. I sing the blackout blues, but there's a smile behind these cloudy eyes. And I don't know about you, but I take chaos overpouring every time. Oh, 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 oh.
It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon now. I wanted to take a moment to kind of check in with you guys on where I'm at and how things are going. As I was starting to work on the opening image and the beats that come after the opening image, I was starting to get a little bit in my head on which path to take. I had like 3 different options on what I could do. I wasn't really sure which one would work best in order to show where Delaney is mentally, physically, and emotionally, and what her current circumstances are. They all would work, but I wasn't sure which one was the strongest, and so I actually reached out to Taylor, and we were able to hop on a FaceTime call, and she just sort of talked me through that. I ended up coming away with a lot more clarity on what needed to happen in these opening scenes of the book. That was really, really helpful just to have that conversation with her. She kind of confirmed that I could really go in any direction, but if I wanted to show specific things, having it go a specific direction would make it stronger. I did decide to go ahead and use parts of what we talked about during that call to really nail down what the theme stated is going to be and like part of the setup. If you haven't read Save the Cat or looked at the Save the Cat beat sheet, each beat is supposed to happen within a certain percentage of the book. So the opening image happens in the first 1% of the book. The theme stated is supposed to happen by 5%, and then the setup is between 1 to 10%. I was kind of struggling to understand what exactly the setup was supposed to be, so I had to do a little bit more research on that and determine that the setup is actually just just anything that happens from 1% to 10%, but it's meant to like introduce characters, themes, and what the main character is going to have to go through and where they're starting from, essentially. In my opinion, it's a little strange how it's explained in Save the Cat, so it was just a little bit confusing for me. I wasn't really sure what it meant and how I could have two different beats overlapping. I had to go back and add a couple of things into the opening image and the theme stated portion, and I also added a scene that happens after the opening image but before the theme stated, because when I was talking on the phone with Taylor, I mentioned something about where my character draws a line, and she told me that I should have something that shows that she has like a moral limit to what she's willing to accept before the catalyst happens, because she's sort of like protecting someone during the catalyst. I'm almost finished outlining Act 1. I just have to outline the catalyst, which should be pretty simple because I already know what's going to happen. I just haven't actually written it down yet. And then I have to outline the debate beat, and I kind of have an inkling of what's happening in that beat, but while I was reading and outlining, some like major things in the plot have already shifted. I got rid of 2 characters because it just didn't fit. That kind of changed the entire landscape of where I thought this book was going. So I'm gonna have to give that a more thorough think. I'm hoping after my little miniature break that I could maybe finish Act 1 and get started on Act 2, maybe do up to B story or fun and games section. So unfortunately, it's like super hot out, so I don't think I'll be able to take my dog on a WALK today, but I'm gonna try to get a little bit of sun today. So I'm gonna connect with my friend Holly to see if she's free to maybe do some additional work, and we might just go to her house and write. But if not, I might try to find a cafe to go to because I am really craving a cold brew, and I need a cold brew right now. Like, I just need one with some like salted caramel cold foam or something. So we might go to a cafe to do the rest of this. For now, I'm gonna take a little bit of a break, and I will see you guys either at the cafe or at Holly's house.
Hey mama, could you get up soon? I get so cold in the other room. Here I am, honey, half awake. Get yourself moving and you'll be okay.
I'm going to be trying some new angles in this video and the next video, so let me know how we feel about the new perspectives of my apartment. I'm kind of liking this angle, personally. Today I'm going to be working on outlining Act 2, and I have a feeling that Act 2 is going to take me a while. I didn't work on it yesterday because I've been trying to give myself a little bit more grace and an opportunity to just not work on my projects when I'm really just not in the mood and when I have other things going on. And so yesterday, instead of actually outlining, I cleaned my entire apartment, but also I just wasn't in a writing mood. I wasn't feeling creative. And I think part of the reason why was just because my apartment was a mess and I just needed to take care of that. And I'm glad that I did, because today I am feeling like really refreshed and pumped and ready to go. It's almost 4:30, and so in just a few minutes I'm gonna pull up my project and get started. I'm gonna be working on the break into 2 beat. Sorry, I'm just adjusting 1 second. I'm using Save the Cat, and Save the Cat has been really helpful for me to understand the beats and everything, but I've found that I've had to do some additional research on what the beats can include, and using my friends who have plotted using Save the Cat before as sort of a guide when I have questions. It's been really nice being able to have people that I can rely on to help me through this outlining process, because it really intimidated me at first. Like, I'm still sort of trying to figure out the best routes to go and trying to kind of pick which ideas I have that are the strongest and making sure that the outline has clarity so that when I'm writing, I'm not getting like lost in my own outline, but I want to make sure that I have a really solid idea of what's going on in this particular spot of the novel. I had a clearer picture of what was going on in Act 1. The details of Act 2 are still really fuzzy to me. I have a couple of scenes that I know are going to need to go into Act 2. I'm not 100% sure which beat they fall into yet or where in the storyline they're going to fall. It should be interesting to see where and if they actually end up in the outline or not. I'm a little bit nervous to start outlining Act 2 just because I know that it's probably going to be a difficult part of the book to outline. The outline for Act 1 feels really, really strong, and I'm really happy and actually kind of surprised. I'm not saying it's perfect or anything, but it just feels like every step naturally leads into the next step in the book, and that is really reassuring for me. And I'm hoping that outlining Act 2, I will start to see and feel a similar effect. I'm just really excited to get through Act 2.
Oh my god. Okay, everyone, remain calm. Remain calm. It is happening. Oh my gosh. Okay. Nobody panic.
I just wanted to pop on really fast while we're mid-sprint to give you guys a little update. I realized as I was reading the beat break into 2 that I needed to add a little bit more to the previous beat in order for my character's decision to feel earned. And so I went back and I outlined that scene and chapter. I did manage to outline the full beat for break into 2. And then I got to B story. And B story had me a little bit confused because Rasmus is a B story character, but there are other B story characters. And I introduced Rasmus, my main protagonist love interest, earlier in the story, but he only appears in like 2 chapters, I believe, before this beat. And in the book Save the Cat, it mentioned that you needed to have not introduced them prior to Act 2. Well, I obviously didn't do that. So I'm going to be bending the rules a little bit, I think, because there are other B characters that can kind of fill that role. And also, sorry if you hear any crinkling in the background, my dog is playing with his toys. I have like 4 B story characters. There are a lot of people who are going to sort of help Delaney along the way getting to where she needs to go. And so I outlined the first 2 chapters where we initially meet those other characters besides Rasmus. And I am really, really liking where it's going so far. The problem that I'm running into now is that I've sort of entered the fun and games territory, and this section scares the crap out of me. I have to create conflict out of nothing, and up until this point in the outline, like I've had a starting off point that naturally led my character to where she is now. I'm sort of now paddling out deeper into the pond, if you will. I don't know really whether or not I'm going to sink or swim at this point. I feel like I know the first thing that's going to happen, but I'm not really sure what's happening after that. And there are some scenes that I know are going to need to happen, but they don't come until later. And one of the scenes I'm not 100% sure belongs in the fun and games section either. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the scenes down and get them fully outlined and everything, and try to think of how I can get my character from this next point to that point that's going to be farther into the future of the plot. And maybe somewhere along the way I'll figure out out if that later scene belongs in the fun and games section or in a different section. I'm trying to be subtle and not like just throw random things in there without meaning. I'm not sure. Just an honest writing moment. I have no idea what I'm doing from this point on. I feel very much like I'm going to mess something up. And maybe this might even be a good spot for me to just pause and do some brainstorming and maybe try to come up with some other additional things that could go in the fun and game section. But we'll see. I'm going to get back to the sprint. We've got about 30 minutes left now, and I'm going to outline those 2 scenes, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
Listen for me in a violin. Listen for me when the knife is turning. Listen for me when the world is...
Hi guys, how are you? I just got back from a walk with my dog and decided to hang some pictures up around the house. I got these pictures as a way of celebrating finishing the first draft of Project Daydream. What do you think of her behind me? I think it's really cute and I really love this frame. I got this on Amazon, by the way, if you're wanting a frame like that. I'm gonna jump in and start with the stats for everything that I've done this week. And 1 second, I just want to adjust this a little bit. I feel like I'm kind of like there. I feel like that's a little bit better. Over the days of filming this vlog, I managed to outline 15 scenes if you count the prologue. There is one scene that I have ruminating in my head right now that I still need to write down. And sorry if you can hear the noise in the background. My dog is still playing with his toys. He's ripping something up right now, so please just ignore that. I'm currently just starting to outline the fun and games portion of the novel, which is really intimidating. And I'm not gonna lie, like I'm so scared to continue along this path. The other beats in Save the Cat, in my opinion, are a lot easier to work with because they're just more well defined and it's almost like a guide to how you're supposed to write it. But this fun and game section is just like your characters are winning or they're losing, and there's really not much else that goes into that. If you haven't read Save the Cat, if you're not a plotter and you aren't sure what this beat is, this is like the meat of the story. You can think of the time that Katniss spent in the arena in the first Hunger Games. That was the fun and games portion of the novel. And when you're reading, it seems a lot simpler than it is to actually outline that part of the book. I kind of feel like I'm in a free fall right now and I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to take it. I'm gonna, I think, maybe pause a little bit and do some more backstory. And I even was talking to Kara on Paper about this, and I think Cody the writer, about potentially even just writing some chapters to see how I feel, and it might help me think of some ideas that could go in this section. But it's such a big portion of the novel, and it's just really intimidating. And my worst fear is that I'm going to plot it and it's not going to be as strong as the beginning part of the plot. I think that's probably something that a lot of writers who are in this stage of the outlining process fear. But this being my first time, I'm really feeling that. And I'm kind of scared to continue almost because I'm worried it's going to be weak. Like I'm not going to have enough substance, or it's just going to be a lot of stuff happening to my characters for no good reason, and I just don't want that. I could try to plot backwards from the ending and back. The problem with that is that I don't know how this book ends yet, so I'm gonna have to probably figure out what that looks like if I'm going to try to do that or attempt to do that. That being said, I still feel really good about this project. To be honest with you, this is probably the strongest concept that I've come up with, and that is really exciting to me. And I honestly cannot wait to continue writing it. I've been thinking about it all day. I really just want to work on it. So I think I'm probably gonna do a little bit of that tonight before I start editing this video. Anyway, that's pretty much all I've got for you guys. We did take a little vote over on my community tab, and the verdict was that we were gonna split this outlining vlog into 2 parts because obviously I'm nowhere near being finished yet. I actually don't know if 2 parts are going to be enough. It just kind of depends on how I'm able to move through this and if I have one of those like light bulb moments that allows me to finish this fun and game section because I am not going to sacrifice the quality of the outline just to make a video. I really want the outline to be as strong as possible so that I feel more confident going into the drafting process. I think the only way that I'm going to be able to do that is if I really take my time. Please tell me in the comments how your projects are going. I'd love to hear more about your process if you want to share any details about what that looks like for you, and if you found the fun and games section to be as stressful as I have so far. And leave something green in the comments if you have made it this far in the video. Something like a frog or a turtle or something, just a green emoji. If you like today's video, please give it a like, comment, and if you aren't already, please do subscribe. It really helps me out and kind of motivates me to keep making these videos, and we'd love to have you join the fam. As always, I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!